The humanitarian intervention that was supposed to save lives created a humanitarian catastrophe. Libya went from being Africa's most prosperous nation to a breeding ground for terrorism and human trafficking. The very people the intervention was meant to protect became victims of the chaos that followed. Oil production collapsed. Basic services disappeared. Society fractured along tribal lines. Afghanistan was the first target after 9/11. The Taliban were removed, but 20 years later, after trillions of dollars and thousands of lives, the Taliban returned to power. What was achieved? The West promised to bring democracy and stability. But after 20 years of nation-building, the system collapsed in just 11 days. Over 47,000 civilians died in the war. More than 2.7 million Afghans fled their country. Was the mission ever clear, or was it doomed from the start? The initial goal was to capture Osama bin Laden and destroy al-Qaeda. That could have been achieved in months, not decades. But the mission expanded into nation-building, democracy promotion, and social engineering. Afghanistan became a laboratory for Western ideals, imposed on a society that had its own complex history and culture. The result was a puppet government that collapsed the moment Western support was withdrawn. 20 years of occupation achieved nothing that couldn't have been accomplished in 2. Iraq, Libya, Afghanistan. The stories differ, but the pattern is clear. Promised humanitarian missions, followed by long-term instability. These wars were sold to the public using the language of freedom and protection. But behind closed doors, internal memos and intelligence suggest deeper motives. Strategic military footholds, control over vital resources, countering rival powers like Iran, Russia, and China. These weren't just missteps. They were deliberate choices, often with foreseen consequences. The public case for intervention is rarely the whole story. It's often the one people will support, not the one driving policy. Think tanks manufacture consent. Media amplifies the message. Politicians sell the narrative. The same phrases appear in every intervention. Humanitarian crisis, responsibility to protect, spreading democracy. But the classified documents tell a different story. One of strategic competition, resource control, and geopolitical advantage. The gap between public justification and private motivation reveals the true nature of these interventions.